Everyone, so this is just a sort of quick demo video on my final project that I called the B game. Pretty much just built using OpenGL and PyGame. I do have a main Python file that I could call from the terminal here, as you can see, but I'm actually not going to do it that way only because I have an executable that I made, so I can just double click here and that basically does the same thing as calling the main Python file, just makes it a little bit easier. But as you can see, there is a loading screen first off, and it kind of shows the progress that we've been making or that has been made in creating all the prop objects. The reason being is that there's sort of a caching system going on. So the actual generation of the grass, the flowers, and just most of the props takes kind of a few seconds to actually kind of finish executing. So the loading screen is just sort of a placeholder while that actually happens. But now that that's over, you can see that we land in what is called the lobby, and this space is basically there for you to just get used to the bee mechanics, learn how to move around. As you can see, I'm using my arrow keys to move around as the bee. I'll go ahead and get in front of one of the cameras just so that we can actually see the bee a little bit better. I'll explain the camera mechanics in a second, but I'm using my keys to just turn around and then move back and forth. As you can see, his little legs are dangling there. If I actually zoom in, you can see that if there's no movement, his legs kind of just hang around. But if I am moving back and forth, you can see that his legs actually react to sort of dragging in the wind. And of course, he's animated. I can use shift and left control to ascend and descend as the bee. You can see I'm turning around. You can see basically a 360 of the bee there. He also has what is known as sort of his angry mode. So if I go ahead and press Z, I have 5 seconds of attack available. And this basically just makes me be able to move quicker. Now you can see I'm in recharge mode immediately after, so the bee needs 10 seconds to sort of cool off from being angry and in attack mode before he returns to yellow, and I have the ability to be mad again, just so you can see his movement in angry mode. It's very quick compared to our normal speed there. You can kind of see the trade-off there. One thing I want to point out as well is his eye movement. So as you can see, the bee's eyes are sort of choosing random points within his eye whites and moving about to give him a little bit more of a livelier expression, and just make him seem a little bit more real as a bee, right? Let's see here. Okay, so now that we've gone through the actual bee mechanics, I want to show you the different camera views. So just by pressing the space bar, you can see that I can move to every single corner of the garden. And I can also move to a first person view. So here you can see I'm actually in the bee's eyes, whereas this follow mode, if we can get away from these flowers, just will follow around the bee. In all of these modes, you can also use the WASD keys to sort of pan the camera a little bit, as so. So you can also just kind of adjust your view based on what exactly you're trying to do. And in everything except the first person views, you can also zoom in using Q or zoom out using E. So you can really adjust the camera to be exactly what you want. Okay, so now let's get to the buttons up here. You have your help menu, which if you press just gives you sort of a breakdown of what the game is about and how to control your character. We have our difficulty toggle. I'll just keep it at normal for now. If you choose to do hard mode, all it does is it spawns more enemy moths once I start the game, but I'll keep it at normal for now just for the demo. Then I can actually go ahead and press start, and let's move to follow mode here. And you'll see on the top right that we now have a timer. It starts at 120 seconds or 2 minutes. Currently there's only one level, so it will always say level 1. You have your current B mode up here. If I were to be angry or recharging, this would adjust based on the current state of my B or my character. You'll see we obviously start at 100 health, and to lose health, we can actually collide with any of the moths. So if I get close enough, they will start to follow me. And if I actually let him catch me, you'll see that my health will go down there by 20%, right? If I lose all my health, obviously I lose. I'll show you the end screen in just a second. But you'll also notice the score up there. I'm currently at 0. So I can actually earn some score points by collecting these pollen particles. So let me actually get close to one for you. Press X, and I can actually pick that guy up. If I were to drop it at any point, you'll see that it does just go straight to the ground there, and I'd have to re-pick it up as so. And the goal here is to just take it to your beehive. So I'd have to get close enough to my beehive press C, and then you'll see now I have 20 points because I was able to take that pollen to my home beehive. The other way to earn points is to actually attack the moths. So I would have to interact with them or collide with them while I'm angry. So let me get close to this guy, let him follow me. I'll press Z, interact with him, collide with him. You'll see I gain 10 points up here, right? So those are kind of the two different modes or methods that you can gain points. Yes, so you can either collect pollen or just beat all the moths consistently to actually win the game. You would need 100 points or more. For now, I'm just going to use some developer keys available to me to show you what those end screens look like. So if I lose my health here, you see it's going down up there. You'll see game over. Then I am forced to exit to the lobby and start again. The other option would be to gain enough points to win here again. Then you exit to the lobby and just start again. Okay, and then the last sort of two developer keys I just want to show off, although it won't be available for the player, is our actual regeneration mode. So if I am in developer mode and I press 8, you'll see, actually, let's switch to this view here. Let's zoom out. You'll see if I press 8, it just regenerates the flower. So this is sort of just simulating what would happen if something were to happen with your flower positions text file. It gets deleted by accident. It would just regenerate new flowers, and it would look something like any of these random generations here. And you can see if I press 7, it actually activates all the colliders so we can actually see them, debug them, or just visualize exactly what's happening. And you'll see my colliders for my flowers are only on the stems. For the pollen, it's kind of near, sort of just surrounding each pollen particle. For the beehive, it's pretty exact as well. And you can also see the bee and the moth colliders there. I'll zoom in a little bit for you as I tell you about the next thing. But yeah, you can see all those colliders there. You can turn them off. This is what I would typically see. These are the colliders there, right? Okay, I can actually also crash the game if I want to, just to sort of show what would happen if any error were to sort of be raised. I do have a crash sort of prevention system in place. Not prevention, but it will, instead of actually just erroring out and maybe showing the user something really unexpected, it would just show them this menu here. So obviously something went wrong, and it just suggests them to quit the game, press escape, and then they can sort of restart, relaunch the game from there, right? Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is the actual moth behavior. So if you're thinking, how do the moths really know when to follow the bee, etc.? So what will happen is each moth has a predetermined or predefined, I might say, path in terms of their actual target points. So each moth has 4 target points that determines what their path is. They'll start at the very first target point. Let me move here just so you can maybe look at this guy here. You see how he sort of moves in the direction, gets to a certain point, then moves to a different direction, gets to that point, moves to the third direction, moves to that point. So he's kind of going in a circle here. So he has 4 target points, and he's always trying to get to one. As soon as he gets to that next target point, he then looks forward to the next target point, continues moving until he reaches that one, and so on, making them move in this sort of almost patrol route sort of sense. And if they actually see that the bee is close enough in range, they will forget that path and just use the bee as a target point. So they will always follow the bee. And then they either have to collide with the bee and hurt him, or collide with him and get hurt if the bee is in attack mode, and they will get sent back to their spawn point, and they'll just continue their normal patrol route until the bee gets within range again, right? There's a lot more information in my actual GitHub repo, so if you're interested in playing or you're interested in just learning a little bit more about the implementation, go ahead and take a look at that, and hopefully you will have some fun playing the bee game. Thanks.